Assalamualaikum and hi, my name is Shaira Shakira binti No. My metric number is 202545256. Today, I will explain on our assignment project for the Statistic 406 courses. Our project we choose is analysis of student monthly expenditure and spending habit. The next one we move to the introduction. The introduction we have the three column which is background of the studies for this student monthly expenditure. The next one is the studies area and the last one is the objective for this analysis of student monthly expenditure and spending habit. We move to the background of the studies. The studies regarding the student monthly expenditure and spending habit is the student navigate limited income amid rising living costs. Financial management is crucial for well-being and academic success. The third one is analyze spending pattern and financial behavior of student. The next one is the examine the link between monthly income and total expenses. Also, we compare spending habit by the gender, male and the female. The last one is identify expenses distribution across the categories.
Assalamualaikum and hi, my name is Ninur Nadira binti Muhammad Roslin. My student ID is 2025653202. So the objectives of our study are as follows. Firstly is to describe the spending patterns and financial characteristics of students across various expenditures categories. Secondly, to determine whether spending habits differ significantly between male and female. And the last objective is to identify the relationship between students' monthly income and their total monthly expenditure.
We move to the significance of the study, which is who will get the benefit for the study. The first is the universities. The university develop effective financial literacy and support program. The next is the parents, which is the better understand and guide student financial habit come from the parents. The next is the financial institution, which is will design student-focused financial product and services. Next is the policy makers, which is create policies and promote financial well-being among the students. The next is the student. The student supports improves budgeting and financial decision making. The last one is the researchers, built on the finding for the future studies on student financial behavior. Next, we move for the data collection we get from the respondents. We have the few item which is population, number of records, number of variable, and the scale of measurement. The first item is the population. We get the details from the UITM student, Shah Alam. The second item is the number of the records, which is the number of the respondent. We get around 150 students. The third one is the number of variable, which is we get around 18 variables. And the last one is the scale of the measurement, which is we use the nominal and the ratio for this data collection.
Next, I will explain the methodology used in this study. The research began by identifying the research objectives, followed by collection secondary data. The data was then prepared by checking for missing values, defining the variables, and setting the appropriate measurement scales. Next, descriptive analysis was conducted using the mean, standard deviation, tables, and charts. This was followed by inferential analysis using Pearson correlation and the independent sample t-test. Finally, the results were interpreted and conclusions were drawn. For the data collection method, we collected data on student spending across various categories such as tuition, housing, food, transportation, books, entertainment, personal care, technology, health and wellness, and miscellaneous expenses. Lastly, the data analysis methods include included descriptive statistics to summarize spending patterns, the independent sample test to compare the spending habits between female and male students, and lastly, Pearson correlation analysis to examine the relationship between monthly income and total monthly expenditure. This slide presents the descriptive statistics of student spending patterns. The pie chart shows that tuition is the largest expenditure, followed by housing and food. The remaining categories, such as transportation, entertainment, technology, and personal care, make up a smaller portion of total spending. Overall, the results indicate that students spend most of their money on education and essential living expenses.
Descriptive analysis is one of our objective that we using for our data analysis that for student monthly income and the total expenditure. So we move to the descriptive analysis, which is descriptive statistics were employed to summarize the spending pattern and financial characteristic of the respondent by calculating the mean, standard deviation, minimum, and the maximum for each expenditure categories. The research aimed to identify typical spending behavior by the student, the degree of variance in spending among students, and the range of financial allocation across different necessity and this directory item.
There were two types of inferential analysis that we conducted on this study, which is independent sample t-test to determine whether spending habits differ significantly between male and female students. Secondly, we perform Pearson correlation analysis to identify the relationship between students' monthly income and their monthly expenditure.
We move to the statistical software that we are using for our data analysis, which is IBM SPSS Statistic. That was used for data organization, descriptive analysis, independent sample t-test that we get from the IBM SPSS. Also the Pearson correlation analysis, the lastly will generating statistical output. The advantage using the IBM SPSS statistic is the use of the SPSS improve the accuracy of the analysis process and allow the study to generate reliable statistical finding to support data-driven conclusion.
For Objective 1, the Table 1.0 presents the descriptive statistics of students' monthly expenditure across various spending categories. The mean indicates the average amount spent by students on each category. Based on the mean values, tuition represents the largest expenditure among students, with an average spending of 4,531.62 followed by housing 710 ringgit and 7 cents. Among the living expenses, food records the highest average monthly expenditure, while technology and book supplies also account for a considerable portion of student spending. Transportation, health and wellness, and miscellaneous expenses reflect moderate monthly expenditures. Entertainment and personal care have the lowest average spending, suggesting that students allocate relatively smaller portions of their budget to discretionary and personal expenses. The findings for Objective 2, which examines whether spending habits differ between male and female students using an independent sample t-test. The result shows a p-value of 0.812, which is greater than the significance level of 0.05. Therefore, we fail to reject the null hypothesis. This means that there is no significant difference in spending habits between male and female students. Although the average expenditure is slightly higher for females than males, the difference is not statistically significant. This box plot compares the total expenditure of female and male students. We can see that the female students have a slightly higher median expenditure than male students, indicating that they generally spend more overall. Both groups show a similar spread of spending as the interquartile ranges and overall ranges are quite comparable. There are also no outliers suggesting that spending patterns are relatively consistent. Although the difference appears small in the box plot, our independent tests confirm that the difference in mean expenditure between male and female students is statistically significant.
I will explain regarding the objective number 2, which is to identify the relationship between students' monthly income and their total monthly expenditure. We use the statistical test, which is Pearson correlation analysis. As we can see from the table 3.0 and table 3.1, the correlation coefficient, which is we get the R is negative 0.095. For this case, we interpret there is a very weak negative linear relationship between monthly income and total monthly expenditure, as you can see in the table 3.0. And for information, the Pearson correlation result R is negative 0.095. For the p-value is 0.247, which is greater than 0.05, which is the point is very weak negative linear relationship and not statistically significant. For this, we interpret since the p-value 0.247 is greater than 0.05, the correlation is not statistically significant. Therefore, there is insufficient evidence to conclude that a significant relationship exists between monthly income and total monthly expenditure.
In conclusion, this study highlights the importance of improving students' financial management skills. Based on our findings, we recommend that universities organize more financial literacy programs and encourage students to create monthly budgets and regularly track their spending. Universities should also provide greater access to scholarships, financial aid, and part-time job opportunities to ease students' financial burden. Additionally, promoting responsible spending and saving habits can help students achieve better financial stability. For future research, a larger sample from different universities and additional factors such as financial literacy, parental income, lifestyle, and online shopping behavior should be included to provide a more comprehensive understanding of students' spending patterns. That's all from us. Thank you.